Snapchat. Happy Friday. How are you all doing? Firstly, I've got to apologise for yesterday's Snap story. I accidentally had everything on infinite and it was just constantly looping and it was painful to watch. So my deepest thank yous for everybody who got through it. I exported that shit and watched it in one. I got some really good feedback once again, and I've got a follow-up question that I'd like to delve into today. So the question was how to rise above the arseholes, the jerks, the moles, the obstacles. Now, I was talking a little bit about this yesterday when I was talking about the people looking at the obstacle in front of them, the hill and the incline of the hill, and the different people in the experiments. Now, the people who had the sugary beverage as opposed to the people who didn't thought it was a easier obstacle. The person with a friend with them as opposed to without thought it was an easy obstacle as well. And also the person who was asked to think about someone they loved and someone that inspires them thought it as an easy obstacle as opposed to someone who thought about someone who betrayed them. Now remember, the hill remains the exact same angle regardless of what you feel and how you report that in the experiment. It's still the exact same, it's factual, it's objective. So this is the difference between objective reality and subjective reality. So how things actually are based on how you think things are based on your perception. So in this example, the challenge was easier to overcome based on the person's subjective reality. So based on how the physical body felt, their emotional state or their mental state changed how they perceived the challenge. And it's exactly the same for anyone who is a challenge in your life or any obstacle you're trying to overcome. It's the same. Now it's quite funny that this individual actually asked me this question because this is actually something I still struggle with, but it's something I'm learning to deal with more and more the more I put these things into practice. Yesterday I was talking about the shoes, about how they make me feel like I carry myself differently and I walk differently when I'm wearing the shoes. Now, putting on nice shoes, or $20 shoes for Kmart in my example, aren't going to magically make you a new person. That's a fantasy. I don't think you're going to buy some new shoes and suddenly all your problems are going to go away. That's not how it works. But it helps a little bit. The idea of the shoes is just to change your attitude and your perception slightly. That way, when you're faced with that obstacle, it's not such a steep hill. I've had situations in the past where a boss has come up to me and acted nastily, and I've reacted in an emotional way and gone, oh, he was a fucking prick to me, and bitched about it to my friend. But in more recent times, those things happen and I just laugh it off and go, yeah, you're right, I'm a dickhead. Suddenly that person comes from up here to down here and they're like, you get it, he's alright, and then they're more relaxed, you're more relaxed, and you get on with the fucking job. Not always that simple, but the more you ground yourself, the easier it is to just laugh things off and just be more chilled out about these things when they happen. Now the only reason that when someone says something that it affects you is because there's normally a little bit of truth with it and something you don't love about yourself and they push a button. So if someone was to call me a fat piece of shit, wouldn't really affect me because I know I'm not fat. Where if someone calls you fat and you're not happy about your weight and it's not something you love about yourself and you haven't accepted that, then it's going to affect you and make you feel shit. When I first did the whole vegan vegetarian thing, people would be like, what are you eating for breakfast? What are you eating for lunch? A carrot? Fucking lettuce? And it used to always affect me and I'd go, I could eat Oreos. I fucking love Oreos. And they weren't wrong. I fucking love Oreos. But now when someone says that, I join in on the joke and often I'll beat them to the punchline because I don't care anymore. And it's important for these people to be there so they challenge you. Because that either makes you have a change or makes you more confident in what you already believe. If someone was to come and question your diet and say you're going to get sick eating the food you eat, and then you go and do the research and you prove them wrong, then you're more strong in your belief. But if you go and do the research and you realize that they're correct, then it means you can make a change, because otherwise you will get sick. So these people are definitely important. You should love them. So when you go and do the work and stop being like, oh, that person's a fucking prick, they said this mean thing. Go and do the work, check it out. If it's all good, then you're all good. So then, regardless of whether they've helped you strengthen your belief or help you change yourself, you should thank them wholeheartedly. Then you get around that person and you love them, and then you're grateful for them, and then it changes your life, and then you encourage more things to come in your life that you're grateful for. So you're continually starting the cycle of self-improvement and gratitude and love. What could be better? Maybe it's a boss or a parent or someone that you're subordinating to that's challenging you, And that's also really important as well. The reason you're subordinating to them is because in some way or on some level you're infatuated with them. You think they've got something that you don't have or something that you look up to. But actually, in fact, everyone possesses all the human traits. So the thing that you're looking up to in them, you have in yourself. One of the things that I've learned from a few of my mentors is writing things down and how important that is. I've got a pen and a pad in every fucking room, and I write shit down when I need to, regardless of where I am or what I'm doing. So you want to take a pen and the paper and start writing that shit down. So write down that trait that you're infatuating with or that you really admire in that person. Maybe they're a really good leader or a really good speaker, or they motivate you or they inspire you or something. You want to go and write that shit down. Good leader. What the fuck is this? If you can read that, 2 thumbs up. It's actually really difficult to write and look through the Snapchat camera at the same time. It's very weird. Try it out. It's not easy. So you want to write down all the areas and all the different times in your life that you've demonstrated being a good leader. So getting back to it, maybe you were a good leader for your brother at some stage. Maybe you set an example for a sibling or a friend. Maybe you gave a really good presentation at work or at school. Part of being a really good leader is being able to present and deliver well. Maybe you were a crew trainer at work, or you've shown or demonstrated skills to other people at work, all right? So that's training at work that you've done well. That's a massive leadership quality. So you want to go and write down all the different things, make an extensive list of all the times you've demonstrated that specific trait that you're looking up to from that other person. What you start to do is realize you're on an actual equal playing field, and you'll bring them back down to your level and you won't infatuate with them anymore. Problem is, by infatuating with that trait in that person, you're only seeing this one-sided view of that person, which is not correct. Everyone has both sides. You start to see the ugly side of that person, you then start to resent them and think they're a piece of shit because they don't live up to this fantasy you created in your brain about them. And if you're resenting someone, which is what happens when a parent or a boss or someone is challenging you, then you've got to do the same thing. Write down all the times that you've demonstrated that negative quality, and then you'll stop resenting. You'll bring it back to neutral again. And that neutral zone that you bring them back to when you neutralize the infatuation or the resentment is called love and gratitude. So this is how you can actually start to love those who persecute you, or those who challenge you in life. You might not be religious, but in the Bible it says, pray for those who persecute you. And it's such an important thing. Because when you can love those who have done wrong to you, it changes your life. And you realize that they're there for the challenge, and they're there to make you grow or strengthen your own belief or change. And you're so full of gratitude and love for that person. When I started the whole vegan thing, I was way over the top, and I would attack those people who are having a different view to me, right? But it's a losing battle, because you push more people away by being like that, in my experience. It's an important thing you're doing for loving the animals. But if you get more people to disagree with you and eat the animals, then you're losing the battle, right? I got much better results by not attacking people than attacking people to change the way they eat. And I had a long-time friend that started talking a lot of shit about the things I was doing. And at the time, I thought that person was being a fucking asshole to me. It wasn't until a long time afterwards I was able to appreciate I was being over the top and I was being the asshole. So I came down from up here, down here. It's very humbling. So I stopped hating that person, and now I have love and gratitude for that person for showing me that I was being a fucking idiot. So when these people, these challenges or these obstacles come at you, remember it's there to make you stronger. What a lot of people do is when bad things happen, they blame the economy or the company or the government or their boss or the fucking media. And what people are doing is disempowering themselves. They're bringing themselves down here, and they're giving all the power away to these people who they believe and they perceive are the problem. Then it makes you feel like you can't do anything and you're helpless. It doesn't make your life any better. It makes your life fucking miserable. It's very difficult to change other people, especially if it's the government or the economy. But if it's you, it's much easier to change. So you wake up and look in the mirror and you say, it's me. I'm the one. And then you bring the power back to you. And suddenly, it's not the government or the company or your boss or your parents. You have the power. You can make the change. Say this to yourself. I am the only problem I will ever have, and I am the solution. There's a mantra that I used to repeat to myself every morning when I woke up. The first thing I did when I opened my eyes when I was still laying in bed. I'm fragile. I feel pain. I hurt. I open my eyes. I crave victory. I do not give up. I feel no fear. I fear no man. I create. I conquer. I hold the power. When you start your day with something like that, it's so much easier to remember that it is you and you're the one. They say pressure makes diamonds. So if you want to be a diamond, you got to keep pushing forward. You can't let these motherfuckers stand in the way. So you stand up and you say, I'm the one. I'm going to make it happen. And you have the power again. Now this Snapchat story has gotten way longer than I originally anticipated. But I want to leave you with one last quote.
If you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that and that ain't you. You're better than that.
So with that in mind, hope you guys all have an awesome weekend. I've finished my drink. I'm gonna go get another one.